Hi, this is Tony Sagami, and let me tell you a little story. Back in 1950, a Navajo Indian named Patty Martinez crawled under a rock ledge near Haystack Butte, New Mexico, to stay dry during a rain squall. Now, after the storm, Patty went to a nearby bar called Grant's Bar, and he was brushing off the yellow dust that had covered his body, and Geiger counters from a group of uranium prospectors who happened to be in that same bar started to go nuts. Now, what happened is that accidental meeting was the start of a uranium boom in New Mexico that ultimately led to Patty's induction into the National Mining Hall of Fame and ushered in the beginning of nuclear power in the United States, and the rest, they say, is history. Now, nuclear power accidents at 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl have tarnished the reputation of nuclear power, and the new problems at the Fukushima, Japan power plant have brought out the anti-nuke crowd again. However, the cold reality is that the world needs electricity, and nuclear power is one of the cleanest, lowest cost options available today. I am, by the way, from Fukushima myself, and so I have relatives still living there today, so this is an issue that hits pretty close to home for me. Now, but let me go on. A report from the Oxford Research Group says that worldwide electricity demand is going to increase by about 50% over the next 25 years. That's a lot. It also forecasts that the world will need to build 3,000 new nuclear reactors. That's one every week for the next 60 years to meet that growing energy need. Now, according to the World Nuclear Association, there are 32 nuclear plants currently under construction. 74 are on order, and 230 are on the proposal stage. By 2013, 48 new nuclear plants should go online, and it's going to produce an additional 43 gigawatts of energy. And over the next 10 years, an additional 100 plants would be built, and with 40 of them just in Asia alone. Now, all those new nuclear power plants are going to need uranium, and lots of it. Here's the math. A typical nuclear plant requires a first fill of around 600 tons of uranium, and then consumes about 200 tons each year thereafter. Now, that's on top of the 80,000 tons of uranium the world's current 440 nuclear reactors already consume. Now, next year, uranium demand is expected to hit 83,000 tons. Now, get this. According to the Uranium Information Center, the world only produced 46,000 tons of uranium last year, and that shortfall was covered primarily from inventory stockpiles, mostly from reprocessed Russian nuclear weapons. Those aren't going to last forever. Now, we're talking about a huge increase in demand for uranium and a severe production shortage. That is, of course, extremely positive for uranium prices and uranium producers. What's this got to do with China? Everything. Now, China has two monumental problems staring it in the face. Number one, China desperately needs all the energy it can get its hands on to fuel its breakneck economic growth. Fact, China is building a new coal-fired power plant every week in a desperate attempt to keep up with this industrial demand. Number two, China is suffering from horrendous air pollution that is so bad that it's estimated that nearly 1 million people die each year from air pollution. Whenever I travel to China, I don't even bother to request a high-floor room anymore because you seldom can see through anything through the smog-choked air. Now think about this. Nuclear power plants produce 0 greenhouse gases, while a typical coal-fired plant spews out about 3.7 million tons of carbon dioxide in the air each year, along with tons of metal-laden ash. The only practical solution to these two problems is nuclear energy, and lots of it. Now, China currently has 11 nuclear reactors that generate about 8.8 gigawatts of electricity and generate only 1.5% of China's total capacity. Most of China's electricity is produced from coal, about 80%, and hydropower is the rest. Now, the Chinese government stated that it plans on increasing its nuclear energy production to 4% and generate 40 gigawatts of nuclear power by 2020, and another 3- to 4-fold increase to 160 gigawatts by 2030. China is going to reach that goal by building nuclear plants like crazy. Its 11th year plan calls for 14 nuclear plants to be built. Now, on average, China is going to build about 2 nuclear plants a year. As you can see, it won't be long until China's uranium needs will skyrocket as these new nuclear reactors go online. Plus, China is going to have to accumulate strategic reserves of uranium to protect itself from any supply disruptions. Plain and simple, the demand for uranium is going to go through the roof because of China. There are several publicly traded uranium companies that you could take a look at, such as Cameco. That's traded in the New York Stock Exchange. The ticker is CCJ. CCJ. But the easiest way to get some nuclear exposure is through ETFs. If you're interested in uranium, there's a couple ETFs to look at. The first is a Global X Uranium ETF. That ticker is URA. URA. And the other is the Market Vectors Nuclear Energy. That ticker is NLR. NLR. Now, I'm not suggesting you rush out and buy any of these securities tomorrow morning. As always, timing is everything, so you need to do your own homework and decide when the time is right for you, or wait for my signal in Asia Stock Alert. There's no question in mind, however, that uranium has a very glowing future. Until next week, this is Tony Sagami signing off.